Just,
When it's beeping,
it's just
that's
beeping.
pretty scary.
And it gets scarier. Because I don't know that. So now we have silence.
Then we have what? Silence?
Yeah.
Oh. I could tell you everything I know, but that wouldn't take very long.
Now you're done, huh?
Yeah.
See that? Well, you got that picture up there of the Orioles. Your dad took us up to Cedar Rapids to whatever the Cedar Rapids team was.
Yeah.
That was the first minor league baseball game I ever went to. But well, we got to go into the clubhouse, and the players were there. This is before the game started and everything, and they were smoking.
Ooh.
They were drinking.
Ooh.
And I was, I don't know, 12 years old or something like that. And these guys were doing all that. I was just taken aback.
Yeah. All things, I talked to a guy from Baltimore, Maryland. He's been trying to get my boss to enroll in some sort of a, I don't know, maybe just subscribe to a magazine and become part of an investment group. But this guy, I said, no, I don't think Dennis is interested. But the guy keeps calling back because he's an Orioles fan. Discovered in the middle of nowhere out here, I'm an Orioles fan. And he's just astounded by everything I know about the Orioles.
Oh.
And he'd ask me a name. Oh yeah, I could tell him all about it, and I could tell him darn their whole roster and the whole bit. So he keeps calling back. I tell him, no, Dennis is not interested in your what you have to sell. He doesn't care. He calls back again, talks about the Orioles. Yeah.
What do you do?
I just do accounting stuff.
For
There's a general equipment company. They make augers and hole diggers and things like that. We sell them to places like Home Depot.
oh.
And Home Depot has a rental division, so people come in and rent the machines. So we sell them the machines that they rent out, and that's supposed to be a profitable business for them. And then we make an excellent machine, so we're basically locked in with Home Depot. They're about close to 50% of our sales goes to Home Depot. We're United Nations Rental, that's another one. We've got quite a few major customers, but that's what we do.
Do you sell them with your name or their name on it?
Well, it's with our name on them.
Your name on it?
We do custom make a few for some people out in Idaho. We paint them a different color for them.
And they don't notice.
No. What is it? This guy from Baltimore was talking about a guy he worked with. This guy's father had played baseball with the St. Paul baseball team.
St. Paul Saints?
I think they
That's
were
what it is
they were
now.
called the Saints even when they were in AAA. And Willie Mays was playing for the Minneapolis Millers, the St. Paul Saints. Well, back in the 1950s, we went out to Loveland, Colorado. Mom and Dad and myself, and I don't know who else. I think Ted probably was along. But we went to stay with a guy named Kenny Harden, Gene Harden's brother. He lived in Colorado.
Tipton Gene Harden. Tipton Gene Harden.
Yeah. This guy actually, Kenny Harden, Dad sold his farm for him, and they moved to Colorado, I think, for health purposes. And anyway, we'd go down to a Denver Bears baseball game. Of all things, they were playing the St. Paul Saints that night, and that game you're talking about that we watched the game, this was the Dodgers farm team, and Frank Scanelli was a catcher, and we were yelling and screaming for this Frank Scanelli. Dad instigated that, and somebody, Rube Walker from the Dodgers got injured. He was the backup catcher for Roy Campanella. And so they called up the AAA catcher, so they needed an extra catcher. So they called the guy up in our league. The 3I league was a B league but he got called up to AAA just to be a backup catcher. And he was there that night. So Dad went down and said, Frank, who would know me? And he remembered all about Tipton, Iowa.
Yeah.
And he got me an autographed ball with all these guys for the St. Paul Saints. And the guy that had died out there was one of the guys that had signed the ball. This guy was just astounded by that. But, I had told him the story too, which I had the article in the Ankeny paper. But one night I scored some tickets for the Oakland A's up at the Metrodome against the Twins. And these tickets were right in the front row by the Oakland bullpen. And so I got 4 tickets. Well, there's 5 of us. Well, the intention was I'd go in and buy cheap upper deck seats, and then sort of slither down, and Mark would sit on my lap or something. And so while I was walking up there, for some reason or other, I had a Tampa Bay Buccaneers hat on. And there are some scalpers out there, and the guy said, "Hey, you're a Buccaneer fan?" "Yeah, hey, you ever down there? I got tickets for you for the Buccaneers." And geez, I probably won't be down. And they asked me what my plan was for that night. "Well, we've got tickets, but I'm going to buy the cheapo seat up in the upper deck." And I said, "Where's your seats?" I gave him the look. He had the ticket right next to those 4 tickets. I mean, what are the odds of that? What are the odds of that? There's 50,000. They must see 50,000 for baseball. And he had the ticket. So
the next ticket?
He had the next ticket. So all 5 of us went in together.
Thank you.
And so that particular night, Ron Sampson, do you remember Ron Sampson from Ankeny? His son, Ben Sampson, had just been called up to the Twins. And in fact, I have Ben's card on the baseball card on the wall back there. So I went all the way around from the Oakland bullpen all the way around to the Twins bullpen and asked Ben if his folks were in the crowd. Yeah, they had come up from Ankeny. So I went over there and I chatted with them. And I was there just through the first day and said, "Oh, geez, I'll leave him alone." And I went back over to our seat, and Mark was flipping a baseball up and down. Well, Kenny Rogers was the pitcher for the A's that night, and when he was done warming up, walking to the dugout, he gave Mark the ball. Came in and handed him the ball.
Thank you, Kenny.
Thank you, Kenny. So, my gosh, we're really hitting it. What if the long shot of getting the ticket and then get a baseball? So later on in the game, there was a foul ball down the first baseline, and they have shaggers down there. They get the ball. The guy got the ball, flipped it up to Jay.
Taking care of the family.
We had 2 balls. And then late in the game, Rogers was getting into trouble, so they were warming up a couple of pitchers, and he wound up finishing the game. So one of the guys that was loosening up threw his ball up, and Scott caught it.
Oh, God. Now, you probably are making this up now.
This is 100% true. I can get Dawn Neighbor to come down and verify it, because she was, "Where's my cell phone? We're going to go to Vegas tonight. We are hot." So it was just unbelievable that whole night. The long shot of getting the ticket right next to ours in a 50,000 seat stadium, and then have a ball individually, one boy after another. Not 3 balls, but each boy got a ball at a separate time. It was just, well, I got the tickets from a guy named Skip Williams, who was working at the candy company when I worked there. And the day before I started working there, we were out at one of Dawn's sisters, Sarah, had graduated from high school. She was having her graduation party. And some gal asked me, "Have you met Skip Williams?" "Oh, no, I haven't met Skip." So I went in, I introduced myself to Skip. When I was in there, I said, people told me, "Come on." Well, this guy's son is married to Dawn's cousin. I never knew that. I had no idea about that. And this Skip Williams had moved up to Owatonna from Ankeny, Iowa.
Ooh.
And his son was in John Leverance's high school class. And both those guys at that time were living in Prior Lake, Minnesota. So all these things weaving in. That's why I wrote the article, and they put it in the paper in ink. And I have that paper somewhere. I have the 3 balls over there.
Oh my goodness.
I have all 3 of those balls over there from that night. So ask Dawn; she'll verify every
Every bit of it.
word. Yeah, that was a strange night.
We should note that we are on the beach.
Too bad we don't have the surf working tonight.
Well, it certainly is.